ropes it off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure love.
Gotta hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the rich.
Gotta be the best of them. It's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19...
That was pretty hard, and look at what he's gonna work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, Billy Corgan's NWA. We're here for Spring Stampede. Not a major pay-per-view for us, but one that we have nonetheless. But we have some big matches in it. So obviously in the last episode, we had a pretty crazy, weird amount of things going on, but obviously we know Ricky Starks and Eddie Kingston are going to be going at it. No stipulations, but keeping it pretty safe on the show, because we're still trying to kind of figure out this new product that we set up. It's you know, I almost regret setting it up because it's definitely kicking us in the ass, but I think it's a more accurate depiction of what we want the NWA to be, what NWA are now, or should be, and that's sort of that golden age era mixed with a modern work rate, and it comes with a lot of stipulations with it that, you know, it's a little bit tougher for us, especially in the match pacing, but we'll figure it out, and hopefully this is the one where we kind of crack that nut on this show and come up with a really good one. So, anyways, we know Starks versus Kingston is going to happen. We got the Revenant facing the Von Erichs. We got Ace Austin weaseling his way into the main event against Samoa Joe and Brian Pillman Jr. A whole bunch of weirdness. I mean, we have sort of this tie between Alistair and Aldis. I was originally going to bring that into as a match. I'm not sure anymore because they had such bad such bad chemistry that I might keep them away from each other. So I'm not sure about that. And obviously we have Heidi Lovelace versus Kimberly, with Kimberly leaving, so it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Heidi Lovelace will win that match. But, you know, it's a pretty decent setup. And of course we have some minor matches for our show, including our alliance titles and things like that. So we got a pretty decent one. Nothing groundbreaking, but like I said, it's a minor pay-per-view, so it's not one that I expected to be crazy. Now, in addition to Kimberly leaving, Thunder Rosa's also leaving us in 17 days temporarily for an MMA fight, so she's going to be out for a couple months. But thankfully, we have some strong women's competitors that we've brought in, and some prospects in the wings that we might be able to bring in and kind of boost up the division, even though she still feels a little improperly statted. I need to tweak her some more to make her a little bit more copacetic to where I think she should be, to be realistic to real life. Anyways, let's not preamble anymore. We have nothing in the back end to go through, so let's go ahead and let's get on to Spring Stampede. And we got to set our broadcaster. We also have to renegotiate our licenses with our other broadcasters, which might be difficult because we lost one a couple months ago, and I don't think anyone's going to work with us yet. So we'll have to see. But we might have run into an issue with losing some of our international broadcasters until we quote unquote stabilize. We do have a backstage incident as well. Leah Rush and David Finlay is probably a wrestler's court. Yeah, Leah Rush brought before wrestler's court accused of not joining the wrestler locker room for a night out, and of course has to buy drinks for everyone. Leah Rush might be... Oh, we got a positive impact there. Leah Rush might be a wrestler we need to Twilight. I like to try to keep things generally in line with the real world, even though we are now much further back in the timeline. So as big major signings happen and firings, if if they're ones that we can interact with, I try to keep that. And obviously, Leo Rush said that he retired, so that might be something that we might send him out of the not out of the mod, but set him as on like a hiatus or something like that. Now, I thought I set this. Save. There we go. We gotta see where we're gonna be here. We are expecting 3,000 fans. So we really can't be in the GPB studio, because we would really be losing a lot of potential signs, or potential ticket sales there. So I will pick the best option. We will just go to Tampa, Florida. I guess that will be it. I really don't like, and I know I've said it each time, I really don't like this generic venue of just, we'll be somewhere in the city. I really prefer the iconic locations and the real locations. I get why they've done this in the game, but I think it's a step back, because I just don't think it's as thematically interesting. And to be able to just like, yeah, we'll find something somewhere in the city that'll fit this, kind of sucks in my opinion. But that's fine. We will be in Florida. We can go down there and start touring that area. And we do have the ability to medal. We can open. You know what? Let's open forum. We have a few people that are a little miffed, and I think it might not be a bad idea to give them a little bit of a mood bonus from ranting a little bit. So Connor's upset about his booking. Pentagon Jr.'s upset about his booking. Ty Ray's upset about his booking. Things that we can keep in mind. I like to do that too. Not only does it give them a little bit of boost and make them feel like they're being heard, it lets me know that maybe there's a gap in my booking with those characters, or they're characters I need to get rid of, that I'm not really using. In the case for all of them, except for maybe Ty Ray, there are people that we could probably use in a better way. In terms of absent workers, it's just Eli Drake, so we shouldn't run into any issues or complications. So we're pretty much set to run our show. We have, like I had said previously, a pretty decent card going in. So it's just a matter of setting it all into place and seeing where the cards lie. So let's go ahead, let's book it, and I'll catch you guys on the flip for Spring Stampede. All right, guys, we are back, and I think we need to up our pay-per-views now as well, because with this new setup, I realized we quickly ran out of time on this show. So I didn't get everything I wanted out because the match lengths have to be so much longer now. Not a huge deal. Really, the only thing that got cut on the cutting room was one story beat. There might be some people upset. I didn't do a lot of pre-shows. We did one pre-show match that was supposed to be in the opener. Not a huge deal. The pre-show would be like live on YouTube anyways. I theoretically could have put other people into the pre-show, but it didn't feel right. So we'll deal with the fallout from where that comes. That said, we got 11 segments. Pretty decent show. I'm hoping that it goes well. It's very match heavy, which we expected. I don't think there's any major booking issues to speak of. So for the most part, we should be golden. But I do suspect that there will be some fallout from some things that happen. Not a lot, but a little bit. So we might have to throw some money at people to keep them a little happy. That said, let's go ahead and get on with the show. We start with Chris Hero debuting as his gimmick of the King of Pro Wrestling, coming out very confident, though his self-appointed greatest gimmick did not go over well. Got a very poor rating. I'll have to try to tweak that. Overall, though, segment gets a 52 in the pre-show, and he's joining a group of people for the what we're calling the Spring Stampede Shuffle, I think. Skirmish Shuffle. Basically, it's It's not an eliminator or a scramble. It's a scramble match. So we got 6 people in the pre-show, just 15 minutes most. The most pinfalls wins, and being the greatest or the king of pro wrestling, Chris Hero defeats them all. We had Colt Cabana, Leo Rush, Max Stardom, Homicide, Zicky Dice. And match was 15 minutes exact because it was a scoring match. Scores the most pinfalls. Hero has a 50, Cabana has 46, Rush has a 40, 32 for Max Stardom, 45 for Homicide, 46 for Zicky Dice, 42 for the match in total. It's fine, but we debut him. I wish he had a better reception for his gimmick, but we're bringing him as a heel, as sort of this self-ordained god of wrestling, sort of that little bit of that Kenny Omega-ish kind of attitude. We're going to go for that. Obviously, he was originally in a tag team with Cesaro called the Kings of Pro Wrestling, so we're kind of having him go solo here with that. We start the show proper with a bit of a grudge match, or probably more of a beginning of a grudge. King Mo versus Big Rig Cooper. It's not great. They didn't click at all. It showed in a performance. It's a decent reaction for the crowd, but had subpar wrestling. Actually, this went the wrong way. It was. I think I booked this wrong. I think it was supposed to be Levi that did it, but we'll go with it. Maybe King Mo called an audible and went into business himself. King Mo defeats Big Rig with a roll-up. It was supposed to be opposite, sure. I think we're pulling the ripcord on this storyline. It's not doing very well here. Neither of them have a great in-ring performance, but they're on the lower of the card here for us. It gets a 32. Yeah, afterwards, it was supposed to be Levi gets a flash win. It offers a hand and Mo walks away, but we're just gonna listen, they have an awkward thing. There was a miscommunication in the ring. The wrong person won. Whatever. We're pulling the ripcord in this storyline. We're not touching it. We'll move Big Rig to somebody else. We'll move King Mo to somebody else. Neither of these guys click. This segment gets a 40. We have Katrina Waters, our current Heritage Women's Champion, debuting for the first time against Madison Eagles. Madison Eagles defeats her in 11 minutes with a pinfall with a hellbound and wins the Alliance Heritage Women's title. It's not a title that we've really touched at all, and we're treating this as sort of a debut that, like, Katrina Waters had the title for a while and brought it from overseas here. Madison Eagles wins it, though, so we bring it home to roost for now. Madison had a 43, Katrina had a 35. Figured this would be a good spot for her, and it might boost up the title and allow her to kind of travel around, build up her skill while also building up that title. Gets us a 43, which is fine. Afterwards, we have Mickie James come out as a guest presenter for the Alliance title, kind of trying to provide it a little bit of pomp. And she hands the Women's Heritage title to Madison Eagles. We're treating it like it's a new design, so as though it's being debuted for the first time, because we haven't shown it yet. And we're kind of giving a lot of grace and pomp. Madison Eagles looks at it, grabs it, spits on the belt, and flings it over her shoulder into the ring in disrespect. And then goes to start walking away before Mickie James grabs her shoulder, and that instinctively has Madison spin around to back arm strike her across the face before walking away. So we're kind of building up an issue with them, as well as a disrespect that Madison has for the title. And we'll find out more about that probably. We're kind of going with the... she's going to be our, like, Naito. I think she's just going to abuse this belt for as long as she has it. Unfortunately, this segment does not do well. It's a 37. We have Enzo and Cass versus Gran Cosa de la Lucha, our big Lucha things. Enzo and Big Cass defeat them, unfortunately, in 14 minutes. Enzo pinned Samurai del Sol with a bada boom shakalaka. And they make defense number 7 of their Alliance Heritage tag titles. They're good on the belts. We're going to keep them on the belts. we figured this would be a pretty decent match. Unfortunately, it was a little too short. So that's why we got to run this longer. Basically, anything under 15 minutes is really hurting us at this point. So this segment could have been better, but we definitely got a penalty from that. Very unfortunate, but Enzo and Cass retain and continue to be our Alliance tag holders. And then we got Eddie Kingston versus Ricky Stark, the blood feud. Ricky Starks wants to propel himself to dominance. Eddie Kingston wants to show that that old dogs can still learn new tricks. And Ricky Starks is surprised after a surprise cradle with a flash pinfall. Eddie Kingston, despite Ricky Starks valiantly fighting back and even getting Eddie on the ropes for times, does manage to beat Ricky Starks, if even just slightly taintedly. So it's not a conclusive ending to this by any means. During the match, though, to also throw it off, we had Ty Ray, who showed up sort of still showing allegiance to Eddie Kingston and distracting Starks for a second, and ending up allowing Eddie to get a blow-in extra. And this was for the Alliance title, so Ricky Starks loses the Alliance heavyweight title, and this gives Eddie the new Alliance heavyweight title. So he's now our national champion. This gives Ricky even though he loses here, it gives him an opportunity to continue feuding with them, but also if we want to move him up and propel him up, I think challenging for the next gen title would be a good option. Challenging for even the world's title might not be a bad option, so I thought moving him off of this title here made sense. In terms of in-ring performance, they're about even. Eddie's face turn still not doing well here, and got the crowd hotter. Gave us a 53. It's not bad. Afterwards, Eddie Kingston holds his title up. Ricky Starks is furious, walks away, kind of tending to a sore jaw, not happy with the results, not feeling it's very conclusive. Ty Ray is in the ring and gives Kingston a fist bump, saying that the kingdom may have fallen, but Ty Ray is still by Eddie Kingston's side. One of the few that remained. Gets us a 51 for this segment. Heidi Lovelace versus Kimberly. Match is okay, actually. Kimberly loses this match because she's leaving. Heidi Lovelace defeats her in 15 minutes by submission, which we saw a hint of after she submitted and got her to tap out at the weigh-in, the last episode. She wins the World's Women's title. They're literally dead even, so it was a pretty decent exchange in terms of in-ring performance. I think Heidi Lovelace is a little less popular than Kimberly, but we can fix that. But she could also probably be a transitional champion. Not necessarily someone we're going to hold on for a while as we look for somebody to challenge her. Maybe Riho moving up, that kind of thing. Gets us a 52 though, pretty good match. The Revenant versus the Von Erichs gets us another decent match. A lot of decent, nothing spectacular, though I think the main event's going to be great. The Revenant beat the Von Erichs in 14 minutes, beat them like dogs. Akam submitted Marshall Von Erich, and Akam and Razor end up winning the World Tag Team titles. Von Erichs had a good run. It's time to move him on to somebody else. And it's felt like the Revenant, it was the right time for them. They had a 57-53, Ross had a 56-54, and, we'll probably move into a program between the two for a while or something like that. But overall, it's a pretty good match. Could have been a bit better because we could have had it longer. Again, we're getting penalized for that under 15 minutes. So I think that's our key point, is that if we're 15 minutes or over, we're probably fine. But if we're under 15, it's just too short for a major match, quote unquote. So something we have to keep in mind as we're booking these. I was a little hampered by the total length of the pay-per-view, so something that we'll do in the next episode is we're going to have to kind of up everything. I think we're going to do 3 hours, 4 hours for everything. So major shows get 4 hours, other pay-per-views, lesser pay-per-views get, like this one, gets about 3. I think that ends up working out pretty well for us. Overall, segment gets 51. It's not bad. Decent match. Revenant wins, and a new era of the tag team scene begins. In our main event, we got Brian Pillman Jr. versus Ace Austin versus Samoa Joe. And this is a pretty good match. 62 with a major upset here. It had superb wrestling and great heat. And we had Ace Austin defeat Brian Pillman Jr. and Samoa Joe in 24 minutes. Ace Austin pinned Pillman Jr. with an Ace's High following interference from Eddie Kingston. Ace Austin wins the NWA World's Heavyweight title and makes technically defense number 5 of the Global Force Next Gen title, because it's always on the line whenever you're wrestling. Pillman was actually the weak link, struggling to keep up. Imagine how far we've gone that now Pillman is actually our weakest link in this match. Lonely at the top of the mountain advances. Prestige, Smoking Aces advances. Nothing gaining extra heat. Pretty good match. We had a solid 62. I was actually hoping for a little bit higher, but got dragged down by Pillman, actually. This was kind of interesting. And these one of your workers, no, it's just the Eddie Kingston. I think we're gonna. He is 100% heel. So no, we'll keep him where he is. After the match, well, this is actually during the match. I kind of wanted to just write out what happened to explain how Ace Austin somehow won the World Championship. So it was a struggle for Ace Austin. He used every trick in the book to try to find leverage against his two superior opponents, even though Pillman Jr. actually had a weaker performance. Kayfabe, he's the better performer, right? An unexpected interruption alters the course of the match after Guiley using a ref as a human shield against the battering ram that was Samoa Joe. The match descended into chaos now that it had no officiant. The crowd ended up popping as Eddie Kingston emerged out from the seating of the arena, having vowed revenge against Pillman, obviously, sneaking up onto the apron with his new Alliance Heritage Heavyweight title. Looks like he decided that if he can't be king, he will be king maker. He makes a sound and pulls Pillman's attention away from Ace Austin and bashes him over the head and drawing blood. Pillman gets a crimson mask and gets completely disoriented. Seeing the disruption, Joe charges at Eddie Kingston and ends up getting thrown out to the ring. He shouldn't be doing this, but Samoa Joe right now at this point is seeing red, having gotten frustrated during the match, and just seeing, it's sort of like a bull seeing the red cape. He sees Kingston, he charges at him, just seeing the movement, seeing the disruption, leaving a moment of Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston fighting outside. Pillman bloodied and blindsided, and Ace Austin fresh, or as fresh as one could be in this match at this point. And with Pillman staggered, Austin glances over, rushes for the attack. He gets a run, a lift, a quick twist. He impacts him with I said the fold, but I guess it's Ace's High in the save. Impacts Pillman hard. Quick pinfall, a 1, a 2, a 3, as the ref springs up magically unharmed after playing possum for all that time. And with the bell ringing, there's a shocked Samoa Joe on the outside, a shocked and injured Pillman, a smugly looking Eddie Kingston, and a equally shocked Ace Austin, receiving 2 belts and holding them up high, our next gen champion and also our world's heavyweight champion. Yeah, this was a crazy one, a crazy end, a new era, and a lot of stuff going on here. Obviously, we can take this in a lot of different directions at this point, but we took what was going to be a burner pay-per-view and really had a game changer of an ending here. Wish it was a better score, but 58 feels okay in my book. I think this was a 60, but we did have some weaker elements. But yeah, I'm going to have to try to smooth over Pillman, because Pillman was a little upset about that loss. not the end of the world. Zicky Dice also oddly upset, though I think I smoothed that over with some booking. And we'll just give Chris Hero a bit of a boost here. Everyone should be pleased. We don't really use the negative modifiers that much. I don't see a point for it right now. We got some mail. Let's go ahead and take a look at it before we end this episode. Eli Drake returns. Darren Young is available to work elsewhere. I don't know why we got that. Well, we do have him. We're going to bring him into a tag team because we're waiting for the pay-per-view for the new cycle to bring him in. Fourth, about 5,000 viewers for the pay-per-view. It's not bad. Buy rate is 0.01. It's not fantastic, but we got some decent ticket sales, so I can't really complain about it too much. Grado is now the new champion of World of Sport. The show was excellent, so it did pretty well. We had 3,100 fans there. Can't complain about that. I think that was a pretty good show. We definitely have we have a lot of morale issues, and we're going to have to take into account. Some people that were not on the show are going to be upset and things like that. Though Bowden's just upset about a bad turn. Not sure why Razor is upset. But we definitely have some personality issues going on. Why are you irritated? Being left off of Genesis for all that time ago? Jeez. So, Eli Drake still has morale issues. We'll have to deal with this on the next episode. Not a huge deal. We got these Reds that we got to take care of in the next episode as well. But overall, pretty solid show. Pretty crazy. Some changes there. Ace Austin winning the World's Heavyweight is a big upset. But I think it's pretty good. Pillman had a great run, September 2020 to March 2021, after he had technically, I think, had to vacate the title for a moment. We'll have to now look at the end game for Pillman, because his contract is significant, and it might be time to twilight him out of the company for now. So I think we're building up a program to maybe twilight him out and make that decision. So that's sort of the end game on that, but definitely a new era. Thank you all for joining me for Spring Stampede here, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.